Well, we do have another question. This one comes via email as well, and it is from Ted. It says, how does the new financial manager law differ from the old one, and how are legislators allowed to vote in the new law so soon after the old one was repealed by voters, and what cities are affected? Is GR affected? That's everything about that whole issue.
Great, yeah, it's the $64,000 question, and I'm not sure I've got $64,000 worth of answer to it, but the Emergency Finance Manager Law, Act 4 of 2013 or 2012, was repealed by an act of the voters, a ballot initiative that repealed that law, wiped it off. It's gone. There was some thought that the state could simply revert to the old financial manager law that was in place before Act 4, and yet there was a feeling on the part of the governor and the legislators, certainly the Republican legislators, that they wanted a toothier law, as it were, something that would have a little more bite to it. And so they've tried to straddle this line between what clearly the voters didn't want and what is a relatively ineffective current financial manager law. The way they did that, it appears to me, is to simply provide some options, some choices for cities that are in the predicament of financial distress enough that they're not able to pay their bills, that they're teetering on the edge. They can choose a financial manager, they can choose bankruptcy, and it seems like there's a third choice they can make. I'm sorry for not recalling it. There is already, I think, a rather robust effort out there to bring even that one back before the voters again and as a ballot initiative. I understand that there's a group that's collecting signatures now to overturn that. I supported the previous financial management, emergency financial management law. I think that it, even recognizing the rather undemocratic nature of it, I've argued that if elected representatives so fail to administer their city that they're facing bankruptcy, that the citizens of the state owe it to the people who live in that city to step in and take charge of those cities, and to do that through professional management. I know there are other mayors who feel very differently than I about it. Interestingly, one of the cities, I mentioned Mayor Dane Walling of Flint earlier in the show. Mayor Walling sits side by side and office by office, I should say, with the emergency finance manager in Flint. They've managed to develop a very good working relationship. The manager is not running roughshod over the city of Flint, but is able to bring tools that the city council in Flint and the mayor don't have, financial management tools that were given by statute, and so I fear for those cities right now that are on the brink and trying to figure out how to make it work themselves. I mean, and it's not, I don't even want to say it's the fault of the city commissioner, council, or mayor at any given time, or even city manager at any given time. In some cases, it's the accumulation of decisions over decades that have put them in the current position that they're in. Contractual relationships in which the city of Flint, for example, provides lifetime health benefits for all their retirees. Lifetime health benefits. Grand Rapids doesn't do that. We say when you hit 65, you go on Medicare. City of Flint said, no, we'll keep you on our really AAA golden policy until you die. And as a result of that, they had a $1 billion unfunded liability. A city of 114,000 people with a $1 billion unfunded liability. Well, that you can't possibly, especially out of a city that has seen, you know, this great outflow of wealth as businesses have closed and moved away, as people have followed businesses to other cities or states. You know, Flint is a shadow of what it was. We can't expect them to be able to fund $1 billion in benefit to their retirees. So the financial manager comes in and says, you know what, I've got the authority given to me by statute to negotiate a new deal, and he did. And so they still have a $500 million unfunded liability. But contrast that to the city of Grand Rapids that that's been working away over the last 5 years on our unfunded liability and has it now at a level of about, I think it's about $112 million, and a plan to fully fund that liability over the course of the next decade and still transform government and deliver those services. I'm straying from the question, but I think that we have to have some kind of a state engagement in helping these cities to do things that they cannot do for themselves. Now, I realize that Grand Rapids is one of those cities that's not anywhere near the financial cliff. We've been using that word a lot lately, but the financial despair that so many cities are experiencing in Michigan. We don't have to worry about the state coming in and taking over management of Grand Rapids, because this is a well-managed and fiscally prudent community. But every city isn't in the same place that we're in. We got to help them, because if they fail, they drag the whole state down with them. Imagine Detroit going into bankruptcy. Imagine Detroit failing. It drags the entire state down with it when it does. One of the reasons Governor Snyder, I think, has been spending so much time and so much attention and directing so many staff and financial resources to Detroit is that he knows it's kind of like those big banks and insurance companies. It's too big to fail. It destroys the rest of us if it fails.
Do you know where it stands for Detroit right now? I mean, it's been a situation of kind of holding off anything like an emergency manager. Do you know where it stands?
It has been under a consent order that was mutually negotiated between the city and the state. As far as I know, that the ballot initiative failure did not impact their agreement, but I also know that that at any given time they're within weeks of not having enough cash to make payroll, and they have some tremendous issues and challenges yet ahead of them.
Okay.